powered Orange offense? We're about to find out. The 11th meeting all time between these two former Big East foes. Fair catch signaled for the new college rule, so UConn will come out and start at the 25-yard line. And the Huskies are led by a dynamite senior from Columbia, Maryland, David Bedell. Bedell has been absolutely sensational. 645 yards. He's completing 65% of his passes. Both numbers dramatically higher than a season ago.
Yeah, and I think he's the guy to keep an eye on from a Syracuse perspective. If they're going to compete in this game, it's all going to be on the legs and arm of David Bedell.
UConn opens the game with 4 wide receivers. Kevin Mensah is the running back, and it will be Mensah who gets the call. Mensah fights hard for 3 yards. UConn offensively will have to have a big afternoon from their running back and their star receiver.
Hey, it's mostly been David Bedell on the offensive side, but you're right, Mensah's got to have a monster game, and they need to find a way to get the football in the hands of Hergy Mayala on the outside.
Mensah's off to such a good start this season, averaging close to 4 yards per carry. Bedell the throw for the first time across his body, and it's Tyreek Beals who makes the catch and is pushed out of bounds at the Orange 43.
Well, these are the type of plays that UConn is going to need to have in the game. And Beals, a guy that is a playmaker. They just haven't been able to really give him the football. Does a nice job on the run, David Bedell does, of delivering the football for a big game.
Just the 4th reception this season for the speedster Beals, and that's a position group that UConn has some depth and experience. The H-back is Tyler Davis on first down. Bedell a play fake, pressure, and he's forced to throw it away.
I think there may be intentional grounding here. They're going to talk about it.
Still in the pocket. And the officials will come together and discuss.
All right, so no intentional grounding.
Chris Slayton coming off that strong game last week against Florida State. A much improved defensive line for the Orange. 2nd down and 10. And it will be Bedell. Nifty little move initially. Falls ahead for a minimum gain. Take a look at the Orange and this improved defense under the guidance of Brian Ward.
Yeah, I think you have to look at Chris Slayton, of course, as one of your top impact players. And now that Antoine Cordy's back healthy this season, they sort of feel like he's the glue to the defense. Comes in and moves it inside in nickel packages, allows them to do a lot of things in terms of coverages, so they're happy he's back. Big time player in the secondary.
Bedell with time. He'll take a shot for Davis, who goes up and makes the catch. The redshirt junior holds it in. And UConn converts on their first 3rd down.
Impressive strike here for Bedell. He's got man coverage across the board, and he finds his target running across the field against a pretty tight coverage there. It was Andre Cisco, the safety, the freshman safety, who's in the ballgame there in nickel situations.
Xavier Scott is checked in as the running back. He flanks Bedell to the left. Straight drop. They set up that screen. Scott makes the catch up ahead to the 24-yard line. And UConn putting together an impressive opening drive.
It is impressive. You know, I don't think offense is going to be a problem for the Huskies. I don't think at all this season. That's what you love about screen passes. You get guys out in open field. You talk about the offensive linemen down the field making great blocks. They've got an athletic group up front, by the way, the UConn Huskies do.
Led by their left tackle, Ryan Vandemark, who's only a sophomore. Bus goes in motion, and Bedell lost the football, scooped up by Syracuse. Josh Black, the redshirt sophomore, taking advantage of the Husky mistake.
I think the football just came out of the hands of Bedell. He's trying to do a little read option here, and yep, just loses it. Right place, right time for Josh Black, number 85. as they get a big turnover. UConn was kind of feeling themselves a little bit there. Nice drive, nice opening drive to the ball game, looking for points, but can't come away with anything.
Syracuse defense has been so opportunistic through the first 3 weeks. On first down, they give it to Mo Neal, and he runs through a couple of arm tackles. This offense led by Eric Dungey, who played only about a quarter and a half last week. The ACC's active leader in both rushing touchdowns and touchdown passes.
Partner, I don't think we're going to get a chance to get the graphic up to show them, because this is the Orange is the new fast offense here with Syracuse. They're going to try to get a play every 20 seconds or less.
It's a very young UConn secondary. They whip it out to Nykeem Johnson. And Syracuse going fast as expected, picking up yards and chunks.
You know, we're chatting with Dino Babers this week about their offense and how fast they go. He said it's not fast enough yet. When they were at Bowling Green, they ran plays in 19 seconds or less the couple seasons he was there. And they're about 21 seconds per play right now with Syracuse.
And that's not fast enough.
Not fast enough, no.
First down give is to Mo Neal. Jonathan Pace, a true freshman. Take a look at the time between snaps. Syracuse still well under the FBS average.
This is rare.
Chance for everybody to take their breath.
Take a breath.
This UConn defense missing 3 of their more experienced players, and this is already one of the youngest units in the country. Straight up the middle, power football with Mo Neal.
Yeah, youth seems to be a theme for the Huskies. They've got so many guys, young players starting for the first time on their defense. In fact, they started 5 true freshmen against Boise. And they've got some new guys in there as well today.
Marche Terry, Tyler Coyle, Taj Herring-Wilson, all highly doubtful today. Third down give is a carry by Neal and a first down for the Orange. So Syracuse will line up ready to go at the 27-yard line, trying to take advantage of the early UConn turnover. Sean Riley, third different receiver on this drive. He picks up 8. The youth of UConn, 11 freshmen, 6 sophomores in their 2D. Playing this quick passing game. Johnson slips free, picks up a block at the 5, and he's cut down at the 2.
Johnson's ability to make a guy miss, and then down the field, number 5, Devin Butler, going to do a good job getting a block to spring him.
Before the snap, movement by Syracuse, and the game's first penalty.
Offense, number 63. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Now, sometimes you try to go too fast, and you see the pre-snap penalties. Guys want to get to the football, and Dungey wants to go, and he saw something there on the outside. It was going to be just a quarterback keeper, a quarterback sweep off to the right side, and he tried to get the football a little bit too fast.
Saw Dino Babers in his 3rd year guiding the Orange. Has them believing here in central New York. Dungey's going to keep it, lowers the pads, and he is hit. Nice job defensively by Omar Fort, the safety who's back in there after missing last week with a concussion.
And again, look how fast they want to get back up to the line of scrimmage and get his offensive line on the ball.
He'll try the left side this time. Stood up initially, keeps the legs churning. Touchdown, Orange.
Dungey likes to keep the football, and he's such a big, physical, powerful runner. Look at this. He runs into his offensive line and then a bunch of Huskies and still fights his way across the goal line for the first touchdown of the game. Quick drive, 251, right on par with what they're at this season. They've got 19 touchdown drives, make it 20 now, under 3 minutes or less.
10 plays, 67 yards, a familiar sight for Orange fans through the years. Dungey from 2 yards out, Hughes up 7. Babers in his 3rd season guiding Syracuse. The 1984 University of Hawaii graduate has the Orange on the cusp of something pretty special this season. Has always been an offensive genius, loves keeping the foot on the gas, speed and tempo. No matter where he's been, from his days at Bowling Green to the FCS level at Eastern Illinois, he has always dialed up an efficient offense.
You're right, he certainly has. In his days at Bowling Green, they called it Falcon Fast, and they were with Eastern Illinois with Jimmy Garoppolo. You remember that name, of course, now with the 49ers.
UConn getting set for their second offensive series, and there's Randy Edsall. Storrs was happy when they found out they were going to get him back. The Syracuse alum making his first trip back to the Carrier Dome since 2010. Back in his first stint guiding the Huskies. Now he brings in a very young Husky squad here in 2018. His second year back leading this UConn program. Series number 2 on first down. They stretch it to Mensa, but that closing speed is there for Syracuse. As coming through was Evan Foster, the team's top tackler.
Boy, Foster just saw this in the backfield and just hit his turbo button and burst down from his strong safety spot to make the stop.
Foster, a junior out of West Bloomfield High School. Team's leading tackler, returning starter, 27 stops this year from the back end. Change of direction by Mensa. Coming up tonight on ABC, we have a top 20 matchup. Number 7 Stanford, number 20 Oregon. It's going to be rocking in Eugene. 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC, also live on the ESPN app, so you can watch it anywhere tonight.
Pac-12 after dark, but a little earlier this Saturday evening. I like it.
Here comes the blitz. Bedell in trouble, and he throws it away as he was being drugged down. Heat up the middle by Alton Robinson. He's the rush specialist for Cuse.
Yeah, Robinson does a good job getting to the quarterback. There's man coverage again across the board, and Bedell can't find anybody open. You see number 94 coming into your screen off the left side there, working against the right tackle, Matt Parrott, excuse me. And there's nowhere to go with the football. It's a stout defense from Syracuse, and something we'll talk about as we go throughout the afternoon. They were rock solid last week against Florida State, and they've continued to grow under defensive coordinator Brian Ward.
Luke Magliozzi with the punt. Fair catch signaled for by Sean Riley. Syracuse off and running. Orange lead it early in the first quarter.
Bunch of non-believers, and all of a sudden they got a lot of belief. Hey, remember who was with you in the beginning. Remember who was on the train. But doggone it, ain't it good to be winners again in the ACC?
Well, my partner Dustin Fox already has the patch strapped on again.
I'm ready to tackle somebody right now. I mean, you kidding me? This is Dino Babers doing a great job. He's taking us to church in the locker room. I like that. You know why it's so big? Hey, listen, it's the first time they've beaten Florida State since 1966. That was a huge win for the Orange.
First time they won a football game with a different last name than Dungey. 2015 was the last time that happened. Look at this improv on the flip to Riley. But was that a forward pitch? We'll find out. A flag is down in the backfield.
We talk a lot about RPOs. This was a unique run pass option that may have been a pass across the line of scrimmage.
There's no foul on the play for an ineligible receiver downfield. There was a backwards pass. First down.
This offense has been described in a number of ways throughout the years. I don't think we've ever seen it put this way by Pat Fitzgerald. The RPO, the purest form of communism.
I thought it was pretty funny how he said that, but Pat is a defensive guy, former linebacker at Northwestern. He doesn't like it.
First shot downfield. Custis has a step, and he can't make the grab. He had beat Lucian. Had him by a step. Ball thrown pretty well.
Sean, this is the exact same play that happened last week against Florida State. Custis had his man beat against an FSU corner down the sideline. Would have been a surefire touchdown. And Coach Babers talked to us about it this week in our meetings. He said he was not too happy with Mr. Custis. I would imagine he's not too happy with him again right now.
They're looking for that receiver to step up.
Yeah.
Devin Butler was the anticipated bell cow coming into the season. He had a couple of early drops in the Week 1 game against Western Michigan. Here goes Neal, and a touchdown-saving tackle made by Tyler Coyle, who was doubtful to come in this game for UConn, but he's out there at his safety position. Quick throw, these quick screens just killing UConn as Nykeem Johnson has his 3rd reception. First down from the 31. The keeper by Dungey scoots to the outside, keeps his balance, and wisely avoids the hit. It's a gain of 13 and a first down.
It's rare for you to say wisely avoids the hit for Mr. Dungey, because typically he's looking to deliver the hit. And Coach Babers has been talking with him about that for about 3 seasons, yet he continues to not avoid the hits. Good job right there.
Dungey looks, swings it out. Neal's been active in this first quarter. On the boundary side, he'll tightrope the near sideline. Looks like he should have enough for the first down. Going to be very close.
This little swing pass out to the outside. Mo Neal, more of that shiftier runner.
Dungey looking for number 2, stretches the football. He's in. Touchdown, Syracuse.
You know, I was down on the field before the game, and I had to look at Eric Dungey. He didn't have his pads on. He looks like a tight end, Sean. He really does. His physique, he looks like a middle linebacker or a tight end or whatever. He doesn't look like a quarterback, and that's not a bad thing. He's so put together. He just is like a, I don't even know, looks like Paul Bunyan, if that makes any sense to anybody out there.
He plays like Paul Bunyan,
he does,
too.
Absolutely.
A ferocious competitor, maybe his greatest strength. There were concerns coming into the week. How's his arm? How's his vision following a couple of shots last week? I'd say all is okay with Mr. Dungey. Syracuse rolling. Syracuse out in front of UConn. 6:24 to go in this first quarter. And a good look at Brian Ward in his 3rd year as the defensive coordinator. Last year's Broyles Award nominee for one of the top assistants in the job that he has done at Syracuse on the defensive side.
And I always think it's a tough job for any defensive coordinator who joins a staff with a coach who wants to run up-tempo offense. Look at the numbers. From 2016 all the way to now, I mean, goodness gracious, 38 points to 19. And they've gotten so much better on 3rd downs, too. That's the number right there. 19%. That's phenomenal for a defense that has an offense that's trying to get 100 plays per game.
That number greatly aided last week, holding Florida State to 1 3rd down conversion, 1 of 14 in that win against the North. Bedell, pressure again by Robinson, and he has him. Sack number 2 as he drops him back at the 19.
Robinson's a long pass rusher. Bedell's thinking, oh boy, this is not Rhode Island. A little bit different this week.
You know, we talked
no knock at the Roadies, but
no.
I mean, this is a little bit of a different deal here against guys like Galton Robinson and Kendall Coleman on the outside.
We talked to Brian Ward yesterday and said, what's the big reason for the improvement, especially through the first 3 weeks? And he said this defensive line, the depth they have.
I also think, too, that it's not just about the personnel. We talked about that. He said, hey, we got guys who have now been in the system for a couple of years. But even Dino Babers talked about it with us. He said it's more belief. Guys now are believing in the system, the philosophy. And when guys buy into that family mindset, you all of a sudden see the results happen on the field.
3rd and a mile for Bedell. Syracuse rushes 3. They try to set up the screen to Scott. Has a lot of work to do. fighting hard for yards, but he'll be well shy of the first down. Kylin Whitner, the ACC linebacker of the week, coming off that 11 tackle performance a week ago, in on the stop.
Enjoyed our chat with him this week. Impressive young man.
Certainly so. He is a All-State Good Works Team nominee for his countless volunteer hours throughout his career at Syracuse. This linebacking core was a question mark coming into the season. They had to replace two good ones in Paris Bennett and Zaire Franklin. And Whitner credited both of those guys for helping him in his development. Big booming kick by the Australian, but here's the explosive Riley into the open. Riley makes a cut to midfield and is finally brought down at the 43.
Sean Riley put him in great field position, up 14-0.
1 to go, first quarter, all Syracuse. UConn better be careful or they could get blown out here in the opening 15 minutes. Wide open, a lot of cushion given. Butler makes the catch.
Let's go back and look at that punt return here from Sean Riley, who one of the great kick returners in college football, but this is the punt return. Great blocking down the field. Syracuse sets up a return, and they're lucky. Talk about UConn, rather, that Darian Beaver saves the touchdown.
Dante Strickland, one of the captains for today, is checked in for the first time. Dungey, a play fake, zips it into the tight window. Riley with the catch. Brought down by Tyler Coyle, but 19 more yards.
Talk about his ability to return. Second in the FBS in kickoff return yardage. You saw it there. He's got a lot of wiggle to him. We chatted this week with offensive coordinator Mike Lynch, and he referred to Sean Riley as a water bug.
They have a couple of the Orange on top. Caleb Thomas was the injured UConn player. Pound for pound, one of the strongest guys on this team. The redshirt freshman out of Texas. Looks like cramping issues in the warm air inside the Carrier Dome.
Not quite as warm as it was last week. They like it as hot as possible. They want it steamy. Coach Babers likes it about 90 degrees. It's a huge home field advantage today. It's about, I don't know, a cool 65 degrees outside, which leads to about the same temperature indoors.
First and goal. Dungey, a play fake, lobs it toward the end zone, stretching ahead, touchdown. Gabe Horan, the true freshman, in there for the injured Ravion Pierce with his first catch as an Orange.
And again, you see the young guys out there for the Huskies. Omar Fort, the sophomore linebacker, has a hard time bringing the big fella down as he finds his way to the end zone. You mentioned Ravion Pierce is out with an injury today, and so that allows the young freshman to step up. Oh boy, 21-0. Not where you want to be if you're the Huskies, but you sort of knew what you were getting yourselves into in a matchup against an offense that, you know, puts up a ton of points. And when you've got a defense that has given up 55 points a game in your first 3 ball games, you're in a tough spot. Let's take a look at how they've got to 21-0. It's all Dungey to this point. Finds the end zone. This is the opening drive of the game. Powerful run to the end zone. Then you go to the next drive of the game. Read option. Does a smart thing here. Avoids the hit. That's unlike Eric Dungey. And then, of course, finishes off the run with a touchdown. And then he finds his young freshman tight end, Gabe Horan, for the touchdown. 21-0 early for the Orange.
Syracuse offense put up 55 on Western Michigan, 62 on the FCS foe Wagner. Last week hammered Florida State 30-7, and now a quick 21 in this first quarter today. Don't forget, you can stream college football all season long on ESPN Plus. So start your free trial today by downloading the ESPN app or visiting ESPNplus.com.
I got it. It's a great thing.
You're hooked up.
As much as we travel, you're in the airport. Man, I gotta watch college football at all times, so it's a must-have.
Some good games across the country today. See Florida State out to an early lead on Northern Illinois. Bounce back for Taggart Seminoles. A draw by Bedell, and they'll try to get the legs going in the parting of the sea, and they're not going to get them. With one quick burst, bang, UConn is on the board.
Well, that was the one concern coming into this game for the Orange, is that number 5 for the Huskies could do things like this. And I'll tell you what, if you're Syracuse, you cannot allow a seam down the middle of the field to David Bedell, because he can go.
Bedell coming off a 445-yard game last week, accounted for 6 touchdowns against Rhode Island. And there was nobody close once he got past the line of scrimmage.
Well, this thing just opens up like the Red Sea. You'll see as we go. Gonna have a great kick out block here, and then good push down there, and then this thing's wide open down the field. You kidding me? You're not gonna catch this guy. Bedell's got legitimate 4.4 speed. Probably could play wide receiver or running back, but he's got a great arm too. And he was a monster last week against Rhode Island. In fact, you look at all quarterbacks in the country, he's number 2 behind Navy's quarterback in rushing yards from the quarterback position. 321 yards coming into this game. He's fun to watch.
He's had a pair of 100-yard rushing efforts already this season. The first UConn quarterback to do that in their FBS era since they made the switch back in 2002, and coming off that huge 6-touchdown game last week against Rhode Island. So that's exactly what UConn needed. Quieted down the Carrier Dome a little bit. Here comes Riley. Anytime he touches the football, you can just hear the fans gasp. He's that type of electrifying return man. All right, Dustin, let's put the defensive hat on. If you are UConn right now and defensive coordinator Billy Crocker, how do you slow down the Syracuse offense that clearly is in rhythm?
That's a difficult challenge. In fact, I think it's impossible. I think you have to just try to find a way, as he said to us this week, you've got to get him to 3rd down, 3rd and manageable to get off the field. In fact, that's not too likely.
We've seen Dungey really take just the one shot downfield. They haven't had to. Another burst. This time it's Strickland trying to outrun Robinson. Caught at the 16. Dante Strickland, and the yards are coming in double digits.
Yeah, Dante Strickland, who was sort of a co-starter with Mo Neal. They call him the Beamer after the BMW.
He looked like one there. He'll lower the pads, finish up the run. Eddie Hahn, the linebacker, Jonathan Pace, the true freshman, in on the tackle. Flag down back at the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense, number 68. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
That's Aaron Service making his 16th straight start at center, the sophomore from Green Bay.
Yep. See, Dungey's going to read the defensive end right here as he stays with the quarterback. He stays outside here with Dungey. He's going to hand the football off for the big game.
Riley zigzagging his way back toward the numbers. To get some of that penalty yardage back, it will be 2nd down. So they're using these receivers, both Riley and Johnson, in the screen game early in this 1st quarter.
The ruling on the field of a completed pass is under further review.
So we'll take a look upstairs to see if Riley was able to dig that one off the turf. Strong start for Eric Dungey, 9 of 10. 107 yards. He's added the 2 touchdown runs. Has picked up 36 yards rushing. As we take another look.
I think this is an incomplete pass. I think it bounces off the turf. Yep, right there. You see the nose of the football. Right there. Yep. That's going to be reversed, I believe. What do you think, partner?
I agree. Now, of course, a defensive back is going to say no catch there. Right? Put that disclaimer in. But I think you're right. I think there's enough evidence.
It bounces off the turf right there.
Little short hop.
But I appreciate you taking a shot at my defensive background as we go throughout the game. I was a running back in high school, though, so I do have a little bit of an offensive background. But this is going to get overturned.
See the camouflage inside that Orange S Military Day here inside the Carrier Dome. Honoring our brave men and women who serve our country and the veterans who have served our country through the years.
So this will go incomplete, and it'll put Syracuse in a 2nd and long situation. Important here on 2nd down. You know, you got to find a way to get a little bit of a stop to force those 3rd and long situations, which Randy Edsall said they need to have more of on the defensive side.
Had a good talk with Coach Edsall yesterday, and he talked about this young squad, but he really likes his players. He says the work that they put in each and every day, the effort that they are showing, trying to improve, but it's just the fact here this season in 2018, he has guys out there that clearly should be redshirting, but he doesn't have that luxury.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. It'll bring up 2nd down. Please reset the game clock to 2 minutes and 58 seconds. Thank you.
So, as we both thought, incomplete pass. They'll overturn the call. Smile on the face of Sean Riley. So really, for the first time, Dustin, this is a chance for UConn. They have Syracuse behind schedule. 2nd down and long. See if the Huskies can dial up some pressure. They rush 4, and a screen set up to Strickland, and he slips 3 and is pushed out of bounds. Nice job there by Eddie Hahn. He slowed it up, and then Pace finished it off.
I was just going to say, Eddie Hahn, the redshirt sophomore linebacker, does a good job coming on off the outside. He's got 2 offensive linemen coming at him, and he does a terrific job forcing it back inside to force a 3rd and long.
Double move on the right. They come back underneath. Another catch for Nykeem Johnson. That's already 4 catches in this opening quarter. It's enough to move the chains.
So this is a good win for UConn. Going to bring up a 4th down. They're going to kick a field goal. And I think for the Huskies, getting off the field, I know you gave up a big play to put them inside the red zone, but this is a win.
Certainly so. They're going to bring on the redshirt freshman, the walk-on Andre Schmidt. Off to a good start this year, 7 of 8. This one from 33 yards. Snap down, placement good, kick on the way, and Syracuse settles for 3. ACC scoring leader adds 3 to the total, and Syracuse has put up 24 in the opening 13 minutes. Five plays, 53 yards, a little under 2 minutes to go on that drive.
Let's take a look at Sean Edinger, the strength and conditioning coach here at Syracuse. Had a chance to chat with him before the game. It's pretty cool that for every game he puts something on his hand. Last week it was pressure. This week it's physical. And I said, what was the pressure thing for? He said, well, it wasn't the pressure that we felt facing Florida State. It was more the pressure we were going to put on them. And then he said, in this game today, physical is what they want to see from their young players. They're still young and learning and growing, so he wants them to be a little bit more physical.
Dixon is going to give it a shot. He paid the price.
Talk about physical. There's some physicality on the kickoff coverage unit. Wow.
Hammered by Tyrell Richards.
Let this play out. Watch number 42 coming to your screen. Whack. That's a big time hit by Richards.
Well, it might be a little early.
For that.
Bama.
Yeah.
First down, UConn goes back to work. Pressure, Bedell running for his life, and he is hammered, sandwiched as he got buckled backwards. Andrew Armstrong able to slither his way through, and he delivered the first shot.
You know, Bedell's got to be careful here. He tries to spin out of a couple of tacklers, and he ends up finding himself right in the face of Andrew Armstrong, the junior linebacker from Youngstown, Ohio. Cardinal Mooney. It's a big-time program there in the Y-Town area.
This linebacking core of Armstrong, Guthrie, and Whitner, all first-year starters. Quick hitter, Mensah, trying to spin away, and he does. Look at the spin moves by Mensah. Top yards after contact. He'll fall ahead to the 25.
Mensah here for a little dude, 5'9", bounces out of this tackle from Whitner and spins out of another one, and puts him in a position here now for 3rd and short. Listen, if I'm UConn and Randy Edsall, I got 3rd and 1. This is David Bedell all day.
Nearly dropped the snap, reverse pivot. He's going to try to spin, and he will get there as he sprints to the sticks. Out past the 35, up to the 37-yard line. There wasn't a lot of space, but he has the wheels, and he turned it into a first down run.
Oh, Bryce Love tonight, the Heisman Trophy favorite, one of the favorites, I should say, for Stanford, taking on the Oregon Ducks in Eugene, 8 o'clock tonight on ABC. Justin Herbert for Oregon, one of the top quarterbacks in the country. Expect a lot of offense tonight.
Yeah, you like him. 12 touchdown passes through the first 3 games.
I do. I was talking to some NFL folks this week, and they think that he's got a chance to be a first-round guy.
Early fireworks from the Carrier Dome. It was the early turnover by UConn, the Syracuse opportunistic defense, and then Dungey took over. A couple of rushing touchdowns. Second stint of action for head coach Randy Edsall. He guided UConn to 4 straight bowls from 2007 to 2010 before he took the head coaching job at Maryland. Now year number 2, trying to rebuild this program, and he has a weapon on offense with Bedell, and he will let her fly. Hergy Mayala with his first catch of the day.
You know, Bob Diaco was there for quite some time, and of course you see the comparison between 2016 and 2017. And the offense was just a little bit too slow, and they need more points. And so obviously Randy Edsall comes in, and he's got it going a little bit here offensively. I think Bedell is going to continue to have a nice senior campaign so far this season. They've done a nice job on offense. It's just been the youth movement on defense has been their problem.
Well, John Dunn has come over as the offensive coordinator. 2 straight catches for Mayala with that stiff arm. He's able to fall close to the 40-yard line, brought down by Andre Cisco, the talented freshman.
Mayala is a great story. This is a kid who was born in the Congo, comes over after 7 years in the Congo, and goes to Canada and ends up playing all kinds of sports. Was a hockey player, and then of course finds himself at Connecticut as a wide receiver, doing a good job.
Yeah, led the Huskies last year, 43 catches, over 600 yards. Play fake. Bedell wants to go deep, settles underneath, and it's caught. Dixon with the grab. Pretty good defense that time, but the throw on the button, and UConn marching again.
Dixon's a big target, 6'3", 190, and had a nice camp. They thought, hey, this could be a deep threat for us. You see how long he is at 6'3". He's got those long arms. Good throw and catch by Bedell. I like how they're spreading the football out. Remember, Last week, they got the football to 9 different targets on the outside.
Davis is the H-back to the right. That's the direction they go with Mensah. Eludes one, but can't get rid of the second. Christopher Frederick, along with Scoop Bradshaw, the other cornerback, the junior from Tampa, Florida. They have some experience at the quarterback position. Bradshaw, returning starter. Loss of a yard, 2nd down and 11. Bedell looking right. Floats that way. Set up along the sideline was his tight end, Davis.
I'll tell you, Bedell is very impressive. And I was watching some of that Rhode Island game back last week, and I was thinking to myself, this guy's going to be a problem for a lot of teams as they go out throughout their season in the American Athletic Conference. Wasn't sure how he was going to match up against Syracuse this week. I like their defense a lot. But I'll tell you what, he early in this game, to me, has proven that he's a baller.
Scott is checked in as the running back. That's Beals in motion, and here comes a flag.
They need a false start on the right side of the offensive line.
False start. Offense. Number 65. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Matt Parrott, the right tackle, making the switch from left tackle a season ago.
See 65, yep, little jump, can't go that direction. And sometimes that will happen inside the loud house. It's a little bit loud.
Third down, Bedell floats, a lot of contact in the end zone, and here comes a late flag.
Christopher Frederick had a jersey, was grabbing and clawing and fighting down the field. That's an easy call in the end zone. You'll see he's matched up here with Mayala, pushes him off. He does a good job getting his hand around, but he's got him hooked. He hooks that inside arm, and that's going to get the call right here.
Defense, number 3.
See that?
15-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down.
See, I don't defend my defensive back brethren here. I will make the call down the middle.
I'm impressed.
Come on.
3rd penalty of this first half for Syracuse, and UConn trying to claw their way back in. They have it 1st and goal just outside the 2. They fake the jet sweep. Bedell the throw underneath, touchdown. Xavier Scott, and the Huskies inch a little bit closer.
I like this play call. It's misdirection here. Watch Kyle Buss, number 11, comes in motion, and the entire defense moves the other way with him. And then Scott comes back across, and Bedell probably could have ran it in, but decides just to kind of dump it off to Scott for the touchdown. That was an impressive drive for the UConn Huskies, and David Bedell again continues to show why Randy Edsall's excited about the offense for the Huskies this year.
Key statistic on that drive, they go 10 plays, 84 yards. They eat up 5 minutes off the clock. And he has been to quite a few stops, 14 in all, over 35 years of coaching for the offensive genius who has brought a lot of flair to the Syracuse attack, and it goes back to one particular stop, doesn't it?
I think it really goes back to Baylor. Prior to Eastern Illinois, when he takes the head job, he coaches wide receivers at Baylor, is very involved with the offense with Art Briles, and that up-tempo, spread him out offense that Art Briles ran at Baylor has sort of taken on a new identity with him.
Good open field tackle made as it looked like Sean Riley had some space. Keyshawn Paul able to bring him down, and he serves as an assistant coach at 12 different schools, a couple of those as graduate assistants. Started his head coaching career at the FCS level, leading Jimmy Garoppolo in Eastern Illinois to back-to-back FCS playoffs. Followed suit at Bowling Green, guided the Falcons to the 2015 MAC championship, and then set his sights on the ACC in Syracuse, and in year number 3 has this program believing. Mr. Dungey goes back to work. Nothing open. He's going to tuck the ball and run. Has some space. 40 up ahead to the 45.
I'm surprised he didn't try to turn up field and run somebody over. But let's talk about the up-tempo offense here under Dino Babers. Go back to Bowling Green, 2014, 2015, 19 seconds per snap. That was the Falcon fast offense. Here at Syracuse, 21 seconds. Orange is the new fast, is what he's calling it here. And Sean, it's not fast enough. You know, we had a chance to visit with Coach Babers yesterday, and what a pleasure. So honest and just a great man to be around. Loves talking football. And I was asking him about the tempo and the speed, and he referred to it as a chess game.
Speaking of a chess game, it was Hahn who came on a blitz that time, and Dungey went right around him. He lost containment. Dungey scrambles for first down yardage.
You said it's a chess game between the opposing team's defensive coordinator. I found that fascinating.
It's almost personal,
yeah,
wasn't it?
You know, we have a couple injured players with cramps here on the field, but Babers always talks about putting pressure on the defensive coordinator.
Some cramping at Luol Ugwak, one of 5 Canadians on the UConn roster, fighting some cramps. Don't forget, coming up tonight on ABC, we have a top 20 matchup in the Pac-12 in Eugene. Number 7 Stanford, number 20 Oregon. 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC, live on the ESPN app, so you can watch it anywhere tonight. That's going to be a good one. Stanford and Oregon.
I love when College Game Day goes out to the West Coast and you wake up at 9 a.m. and it's dark on campus. I had a chance to watch the guys. I'm sure you did as well this morning. Best pregame show in college football. They were awake though in Eugene. They were there.
Always fun when you make that journey to the Pacific Northwest. Free play for Dungey. He'll take a shot down the seam. Bullseye. First down, Syracuse. Taj Harris, the true freshman from Beverly. Smart play by Dungey. Knew he had a chance to go deep, and he took full advantage.
It's hard enough to...
Defense, number 57. Penalties decline. Result of the play, first down.
Hard enough to stop these guys without giving them free plays. And Dungey knew it and took advantage of it.
31 yards on the completion, and here comes Syracuse right back. So they wait for the sticks to get set up. They can still pick up a first down. They go empty set, quick hitch, caught. Custis with a minimal gain.
Look at the arms on Dungey. I was saying to you guys yesterday, he kind of reminds me with just his physique, a little Brady Quinn. Remember Brady Quinn back in the day at Notre Dame? You're like, my goodness, this guy looks like a bodybuilder.
230 pounds. Again, empty set, nothing open. Can he get number 3? Looked like he wanted to go airborne, but he couldn't elevate. He was wrapped up low.
Sean, how many times have we seen Dungey throughout the years in a situation like this, as he rolls outside the pocket, want to go, I think he just got kind of pulled down from behind there by the defender.
They're going to go power football right over the middle of this UConn D-line. Let's see as they unpile the bodies. No word yet. And it looks like it's going to be just shy.
The ruling on the field is the runner is short of the goal line. First down.
Remember, they could still pick up a first down, so they're going to have it first and goal.
Watch as Dungey sort of picks and finds his way. How do they say he's short? That's a tough spot.
He already has 2 rushing touchdowns. Will he have number 3? Not yet.
I think they're going to take a look at this
because the field that the runner was short of the goal line is under further review.
Yeah, we'll take another look. From our vantage point, I mean, how do you say he's not in? He does a great job. And this is a great angle here. Look, he picks and chooses, looks off to his right and says, come back to my left. And he just pushes his offensive lineman. Unless they say that elbow's down prior to the football, I mean, his left elbow could be down right there, or his right one rather, and is the ball short. Either way, the football is right on the goal line. They put him back a yard.
Is there enough evidence to overturn the call, which is
you see the line
shy
judge,
of the goal line?
Line judge right there kind of peeking in from his vantage point to see where the ball's at, but he's almost looking in the end zone. Well, Coach Babers thinks he got in.
Randy Edsall and this UConn defense getting tested as expected in this first half.
Randy Edsall is UConn football, isn't he?
Certainly so.
Yeah. Was there when they transitioned from FCS.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. First down.
Yep, just not enough evidence to overturn the call on the field there. Regardless, it's going to be Syracuse first and goal. They bring in the big tight end slash H-back Chris Elmore. He's a fan favorite, the 282-pound sophomore.
Look how he lines up inside. I think they're just going to pull it and run right behind it. There you go.
That's what they do. They hop on the back of number 36. This time he's in. Touchdown, Syracuse.
There you go, celebrating your teammates. I love the big boy getting in here. 36, Chris Elmore right here. And then he's just going to, Dungey's going to take off and say, all right, I'll take the lead. Just push the pile and I'll fall on top of you into the end zone for the touchdown. Again, another drive. Under 3 minutes, 8 plays, 70 yards, 2 minutes, 25 seconds. It's so quick. I'd say it's fast.
Three rushing touchdowns today for Eric Dungey. Chris Elmore. Syracuse has put up 322 yards of offense. We still have more than 9 minutes to go in this first half. The Orange on top of UConn. 11th all-time meeting between these two programs. And go back to 2016, the last time they met in stores, a tight one won by Syracuse.
This is a new rule, by the way, this season. This is the fair catch inside the 25. You fair catch it, you're going to bring it out to the 25-yard line.
Do you like it?
I love it.
I do too.
I do.
First down.
I don't know why guys don't do it more often. You know, sometimes guys will always try to get it out. And, boy, what are the odds to get it out past the 25-yard line? It's tough. There you see the rule. Receiving team makes a fair catch signal inside the 25-yard line. It basically becomes a touchback at that point. So. New rule, and again, it's all about safety. I think this day and age, kickoffs are sort of phasing their way out of the game. Some may hate it, some may love it. I'm all about safety, partner.
Bedell on first down being chased, and he's tossed for a loss. Ryan Guthrie, the transfer from Ellsworth Community College all the way back in Iowa, in on that tackle.
Guthrie has found his way to the middle of the defense as the Mike linebacker now. Coach Brian Ward said they had him playing defensive end last season quite a bit. Obviously some departures. They've moved him inside to Mike Becker.
2nd and 15 after the loss. Bedell looking right. Here comes pressure, and Coleman got him. Back up to 12.
I don't know which way you're going to go. You're going to go against 94, or you're going to go against 55 Kendall Coleman. They've got two really talented bookend defensive ends, and there's Coleman. It's tough. Bedell can roll now, and he tracks him down from behind. Shows some excellent speed from his defensive end position. How loud's it getting in here?
UConn moving the wrong way. Syracuse rushes 3. Bedell throws. It's a short game. And then a punishing hit. Christopher Frederick, and UConn with a quick 3 and out. Luke Magliozzi, the 24-year-old from down under Australia, right after graduating from high school.
Dangerous return man back here, of course. Sean Riley, who already had a big one earlier in the game, he's going to get a chance to put Syracuse with great field position.
Magliozzi spent 4 years as a plumber, decided he wanted to change it up, took an offer from UConn without even stepping on campus. Syracuse, 4 touchdown drives. They had the field goal by the freshman Schmidt. They have had it all working the way they want against this inexperienced UConn defense.
Again, all of those drives under 3 minutes.
Empty set, first down. Dungey gets rid of it quickly. Taj Harris makes the catch. Harris fighting for second and third effort. Short gain, pick up a 4, and here comes that Syracuse tempo again.
Go empty set. We call this 10 personnel.
True freshman Jarvion Howard has checked in for the first time. He's at the bottom of the screen. Had a good game last week against Florida State, trying to find him more reps. Dungey wanted to orchestrate something downfield, instead improvises. First down run by Dungey, who's had a lot of success on the ground in this first half.
Dungey knew he was going to take off on this. He points out to Custis to block somebody, and Custis just stands there and kind of olays his defender.
And that time Custis,
he's offsides.
Yep,
false start.
A little bit too quick that time off the snap.
False start. Offense, number 17. 5-yard penalty. First down.
You know, Custis is a guy who's got physical tools out the wazoo. He's 6'5", 215 pounds. But they just really need him to continue to put it all together. I said, well, how does this guy not see the field? How hasn't he been this monster receiver? And he's like, it hasn't always been there. This year it's gotten better, and it's still getting better. You see the drop he had last week, the drop he had today. He needs to somehow find a way to get it going.
He's been plagued by injuries throughout his career. Injuries and position changes. Has endured several injuries since debuting as a true freshman in 2014. And you see the production that Syracuse has got the last couple of years from Amba Edetawau, and then last year with Steve Ishmael, and the record-setting year with 104 receptions. So they're looking for that go-to guy. The question is, who's going to step up and be that guy? Second straight carry right up the seam. See you later. Howard to the 5. Lost the ball. UConn ends up with it. And we'll see how the officials sort it out. It was Ian Swinson who tracked him down.
Sorry, partner. There's a lot to sort out at the end of this play, because
the ruling on the field is the runner was down prior to the ball coming loose. First down.
And they're going to say he's short of the goal line. And this is, they do rip it out here.
Great hustle by Swinson.
Yeah, that's a fumble.
The ruling on the field that the runner was down prior to the fumble is under further review.
Yeah, he's not down. That's a fumble picked up by UConn. That's Omar Fort, number 27. It's a great strip right there.
Look at the hustle by Ian Swinson. He's part of that hybrid position of this UConn defense.
They call it the Husky, that outside backer, almost like a nickel. And he somehow from behind strips the freshman Jarvion Howard. And Johnny on the spot is Omar Fort. I don't know that I would have tried to pick it up and run it out of the end zone. I may have just taken a knee. But that, that left knee, is the left knee down? Now the ball's out. The ball is coming out prior to that left knee going down. It's close. But I think this is going to be overturned, and it's going to be UConn football.
What a huge break it would be for UConn. But that's the fight that Randy Edsall was talking about his team, and what you saw there from Ian Swinson.
And listen, a great teaching point for kids at home. When you see a guy running free to the end zone, you don't give up on a play. You continue to fight down the field, because you never know. You always want to make them take another snap, as they say, coaches say. And right there, Ian Swinson just strips the ball out. And it's going to be a touchdown saver, and he's going to get the football back to UConn.
How about the breakaway speed from Howard? This was a guy that Baber singled out during the week as one that they need to get the football to. He had a 46-yard run, a key moment of the game last week that sealed it against Florida State. Now on his second touch, even though it looks like he might have fumbled the football, another big play element in this Orange offense.
After review, the runner fumbled the ball prior to touching the ground. The ball is recovered. covered by the defense for a touchback. First down, UConn.
And that's a learning lesson for Jarvion Howard, the freshman. You break through. You break through. Oh, Etzel's happy. Yeah, that's our ball, baby. He's pumped up. That's a good stop for your defense. But back to Howard for a moment. You gotta hold that baby high and tight. You gotta tighten it up when you break through. You always got to be aware of a defender coming from behind. And he didn't. And of course, Ian Swenson does a great job stripping the football.
We're squared away, a turnover apiece, just the third takeaway this year by UConn. Can the offense take advantage? They run the option look for the first time, and Mensah gains 4. This is a critical drive. UConn will try to manage this clock, get some points, try to keep the Syracuse offense off the field before halftime.
I think you would build off of momentum too, right? A defensive stop.
Target unable to haul that one in, and UConn back to punt. Magliozzi will try to do his best to keep it away from Sean Riley. High spiraling kick angled toward the Syracuse sideline. Nicely done. Terrific punt by Magliozzi, and the Orange with plenty of time. 2 timeouts, a little more than 2 minutes to work, which is
Plenty
an
of
eternity
time. They may
for
score
this
in a
offense.
minute. They want to go as fast as they can. Oh, we got a big one coming up.
Fired up for that one, buddy?
Well, of course. It's a big game. Nothing better than a whiteout in Happy Valley, a night 7:30 kickoff. Buckeyes taking on the Nittany Lions. Urban Meyer back on the sidelines for the Buckeyes. And did you watch Penn State at all last night?
I did.
Oh my goodness. The third and fourth quarter, the onslaught. Illinois was up 24-21, and they ended up losing 62-24. Incredible.
2 high-powered offenses next Saturday night.
Absolutely.
Speaking of high-powered
Timeout.
offense,
UConn.
Syracuse will have to delay it. UConn's going to use their first timeout. So no real big surprises in this first half. We saw the early turnover by UConn, and then the Syracuse offense led by Eric Dungey, and we both knew coming in he was healthy. There were no effects throughout the week in practice, and he has looked good in this first half, leading this offense in what has been a quick throw passing attack today. They haven't taken too many shots downfield.
Yeah, all short stuff, bubble screens. Dungey on the move. Not really a pocket passer. You know, he's always trying to get outside the pocket and take off and run. There's a look at his career numbers. The thing that is staggering is the 1,500-yard rushing numbers. 21 touchdowns on the ground. He's a tremendous quarterback. One of the great quarterbacks that Dino Babers has been able to coach. He's coached Jimmy Garoppolo at Eastern Illinois. He had Matt Johnson at Bowling Green. He did a terrific job with the Falcons. Now Eric Dungey here at Syracuse. It matters. Having a quarterback to be able to run your offense makes all the difference.
3rd all-time here at Syracuse for rushing yards by a quarterback behind the great Donovan McNabb and Bill Hurley. They've had some good ones come through here. Dungey will be right there. That's Johnson in motion. He gets it on the jet sweep, picks up a nice block from Neal, and a flag is thrown. And let's see if Neal went low on that block. Outside the box. First time they've showed the jet sweep action today.
Illegal low block. Offense, number 4.
Dante Strickland.
So the running back going low, below the waist outside the box. This will be a big penalty. It takes it all the way back. 27-yard line. And Dino Babers has watched his team commit a few penalties in this first half. Fifth penalty today for Syracuse. This pushes them back. Clock starts up again. 2 minutes to go. 1st and 20 back at the 27. Dungey with time, rifles it, knocked away. That's the true freshman getting his first game action of the year, Shamel Lazarus. Look at that number put up by Dungey. He's surpassed Donovan McNabb, one of 5 jerseys up in the rafters here inside the Carrier Dome.
One of my former teammates with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Here comes pressure. Dungey running for his life, and he is caught. Darian Beavers, who's bounced back and forth between the linebacker and the defensive end position. He's their best pass rusher, and he showed some speed there.
I think we're seeing something here from the Huskies defense this week that we haven't seen the first few weeks. Randy Edsall said to us this week in practice they were moving some guys around. They wanted to find a way to put the fastest players they could find on the field. And that involved moving some guys to different positions and moving some guys in and out of the defensive line, putting maybe more Eli Thomas in the game, who's a pass rusher. And so far, I'll tell you what, I mean, you've got a turnover. You've been able to get off the field. For a team that couldn't find a way to stop Rhode Island at all last week, I think there's some positive things you can take away from this if you're Coach Randy Edsall and your defensive staff, Billy Crocker, the defensive coordinator, to build on as you go throughout the upcoming weeks. Now, this one's far from over, but just to be able to get off the field and you get a sack here, you put them behind the sticks. You've got a 3rd and 32 against this uber fast offense, this terrific quarterback. I think that's something to build off of.
UConn using that timeout. They want the football one more time. Dungey settles for Riley at the 30 up to the 35. And that is it. So UConn will get the football one more time. Tyler Coyle the stop.
We talk about this youth movement on the defense for UConn. They've got 30 underclassmen that have played this season. And just on that defense alone, they've had 21 different players start on that defense. No other team in the FBS can say that. So I think what they're doing is saying, hey, look, it may be a struggle. We may have some lumps along the way. But in the end, next year, the year after that, as guys have the ability to recall these moments and these experiences, yeah, maybe they'll be better for it. It's trial by fire. Learn as you go. And all these guys, the freshmen out there, they're probably 15 pounds away from being where they want to be. But they don't know what they don't know. So throw them out there and let them have an opportunity to play.
And we asked Randy Edsall what was more difficult, taking it from the FCS to the FBS level back in 2002, or what he's trying to do now and repile this program with the talent that they need to compete in the American. And he said, right now, this is a tougher job for him. A lot of it is because of the conference. You look at the American Athletic and what they're facing each week, a tougher schedule. It's tough to grow up fast. A little bit tougher now than it was back in that 2002-2003 season.
It's a good conference. It's a team down in Orlando that's pretty good.
High, booming kick by Hofrichter and a fair catch by Buss.
Playing a lot of guys, Mr. Kenny. Most underclassmen played this season is Georgia.
How scary is that?
Which I was going to say is extremely scary because Georgia's a heck of a good football team already. But they're right there. 11th most in FBS this season with 30. Future of the SEC may look pretty bright with Florida, I think, on the rise. And Arkansas as well. And Lovie Smith playing some young guys too at Illinois.
No timeouts. 90 yards from where they want to be. Let's see how aggressive UConn plays it. Bedell is going to throw, gets rid of it quickly. Mayala makes the catch. Will stop the clock. Gain of 11 and a first down.
Well, I was going to say no timeouts for UConn, but 2 timeouts for Syracuse. With 1:16 to go, depending on what happens on these next couple of plays, I wouldn't be surprised to see Dino Babers consider calling the timeouts and trying to get his offense back on the field one more time. But a nice throw and catch there on first down. as the Huskies move the sticks. They want to put some points on the board before halftime too.
Bedell 12 of 18 for 137. Syracuse drops 8 into coverage. They settle underneath, and it is Scott who's been a reliable target in this first half. Xavier Scott started his career as a wide receiver. They switched him to running back in the spring. They had to go all the way to Germany to find him. Pressure comes by Robinson. There's a big hit, but Scott hangs on. Shows some toughness. Frederick hit him with the shoulder. It's a good-looking redshirt freshman out of Fort Hood, Texas. He's traveled.
Foul. Hands to the face. Offense, number 74. After this is the goal. Replay, first down.
Well, that's an unfortunate penalty for UConn. That's the promising left tackle, Ryan Vandemark.
Take a look at Vandemark's working there against Coleman. Yeah, he gets his hands on his face mask. He doesn't grab it, but he pushes up into that face, and that's going to get called, of course, every time. There's the big hit from Frederick coming in there from the left side. But now if you're UConn, you may want to consider being a little bit more conservative here on 2nd and 17 with Syracuse having 2 timeouts left.
A wide spacing by the defensive line. Bedell a straight drop. Looking around, happy feet, nothing open. Trying to point downfield, lofts it, and he'll throw it away.
See, now that helps Syracuse.
Stops the clock. Syracuse doesn't have to burn a timeout, and a 3rd and long for the Huskies.
Well, they're going to burn one after 3rd down, and they'll still have one left for their offense. But watch the pressure here. There's Coleman, swim move inside, and then you'll see 85 here come across on the left side there. That's Josh Black, the redshirt sophomore, making Bedell throw that away as they face 3rd and 17.
Draw by Bedell, has a couple of blockers, and he'll go into a protective slide at the 25-yard line, well shy of the first down. And as expected, Syracuse will burn their 2nd timeout.
Timeout, Syracuse. It's their 2nd charge timeout.
Coleman's got to be careful there as Bedell gives himself up. He comes in on top of Bedell and potentially could have been a personal foul. Now watch, see when Bedell gives himself up here. Watch 55. Got to be careful coming in on top of a quarterback once he gives himself up. Now it wasn't too bad, but
Bedell's played well. Remember, he had that early turnover, had UConn marching down the field on the opening drive. 13 of 20 for 145 yards. He has the touchdown. Has also put up 66 yards on the ground, 75 of those yards on that run, that touchdown run.
It's a great story. You start talking about it earlier, partner. Magliozzi used to be a plumber in Australia.
In Australia, down under, graduated from high school. Wanted to learn the trades of the plumbing business. Actually was a full-time plumber for 4 years. Decided he wanted to try football. He had played Australian rules football throughout his career. Never a lot of American football.
I think he had a couple shoulder injuries, right? He's playing a little Aussie rules and then decided, you know, hey, I maybe have to give that up because of the injuries. And then finds himself in an Aussie kicking camp, a camp that exposes these guys to American football. Colleges sort of find their way to find kickers and punters. And he was just discovered. And it comes over here, gets a scholarship, and is doing a great job so far for the Huskies.
24-year-old veteran handling the special teams. UConn was the first program to offer. He said yes, thank you, and without even stepping foot on campus, here he is punting inside the Carrier Dome. Syracuse is going to settle for the 430 yards of offense in the first half, and the Orange go into the break on top. Syracuse by 17. Dungey with power football early. 3 rushing touchdowns. The late strip by UConn saying they have a little fight left. Orange by 17 at the end. Feels like fall outdoors, not so much the case inside the Carrier Dome. Welcome back to Syracuse, the Orange on top of UConn. 31-14. Both these quarterbacks playing very well in the first half. You see the numbers put up by Eric Dungey, accounting for the 4 touchdowns. David Bedell has been up to the challenge. Just he's been running for his life a lot in that first half.
He has been. The defensive ends from Syracuse have been all over David Bedell.
Sean Kenny, Dustin Fox, our entire crew with you from Syracuse, and the first half started in a big way for the Orange, and a lot of questions coming in about the health of Dungey. He looked pretty good.
He looks pretty fine to me. He's lowering his shoulder, and then he uses his arm to find his freshman tight end for the touchdown. But David Bedell still wasn't done. He was like, I want to show you guys what I can do, and he goes off for a big-time touchdown run. Looks like one of the fastest players on the field, but I think Alton Robinson wants to show him how fast he is off the edge. Gets a couple of sacks and pressures in the first half as Syracuse offense starts here again in the second half.
430 yards of offense by the Orange, and on first down they will give it off for a short gain. Dante Strickland with a pretty good offensive attack, a balanced attack for the Orange. They've been using these screens all afternoon. Nykeem Johnson with another catch. That's his 6th reception of the day.
And they haven't taken too many shots down the field, which to me is a little surprising, because you've got a very young secondary in UConn out there. A lot of freshmen across the board, yet they're still taking a lot of underneath routes against UConn.
Top tackler for UConn in that first half was their outside linebacker, Eddie Hahn. He had 9 stops. He's in there with Sterling. Sterling comes on a blitz. Crossing pattern, got a hand up, knocked away, nearly intercepted. I think it was Uguak who got a paw up, and then Jordan Morrison nearly caught it on the deflection.
You know, this is one of those situations where the fast up-tempo offense can hurt you. I asked Coach Babers about this yesterday, and he said it's not all positives. He goes, listen, we could go 3 and out quickly, and look, you see 14:07 to go. That's 53 seconds, and they're punting the football. So again, it's kind of a double-edged sword at times. You've got to move the sticks if you want to continue to run that up-tempo offense right here. I think it hurt them.
One thing UConn has been able to do, yes, they've given up the huge amount of yards, but they are putting up some resistance, especially toward the tail end of that second quarter. They force a quick 3 and out here to start the third quarter, so this young defensive unit may be picking up a little bit of confidence.
And I think they found something with the speed in changing some guys' positions for this game specifically, where they wanted to get some guys in the game who maybe didn't play quite as much the last couple of weeks. They knew they were going to have to be as fast as they possibly can in this game.
False start, offense, number 48, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
You know, something else to keep an eye on here is we see some lack of discipline, some penalties. The offense sort of sputtering a little bit. You know what's next week, don't you, partner?
A big one.
Yeah, they got a big one against Clemson on the road, Death Valley. So not to say that that is all where their focus is at this point, but I think sometimes in these games, those little details, the fundamentals can become a factor.
High kick, Buss with the fair catch, and he gets knocked over, and this will be a penalty, and UConn's going to get the football in pretty good shape. Buss got plowed as he signaled for the fair catch.
Oh, was he blocked into him?
That's what we're going to see.
I think it was Custis here coming in.
Well, it's his own guy.
Well, that they may overturn this because his own guy got pushed into him. They're talking about it.
It was Custis, as Dustin mentioned, the first one downfield there, but UConn contact came from a Husky teammate.
It wasn't Custis that ran into the punt returner. It was his own man.
During the kick, holding, return team number 24, the 10-yard penalty, 1st down. There is no foul for kick catch interference as the receiving team was blocked into his own player. 1st down.
Keyshawn Paul with the hold. So the holding call happened away from where all the contact was.
Well, Syracuse ended up with the football. If there's no kick-catch interference, I don't understand why this is not Syracuse football. And Dino Babers is down there having a conversation with the officials right now. Why is UConn getting the ball if there's no kick-catch interference? They did say holding on the receiving team, didn't they?
They did.
Okay.
That was the initial call.
The previous play is under review.
Yeah, this is going to be Syracuse football. If they're saying there was no kick-catch interference, I'm confused. Watch, Custis right here.
So does the football hit a UConn player? Let's take a look. Hits Custis maybe, but I did not see it hit either of the.
I thought it hit a UConn player.
players.
Okay, then maybe I stand corrected that it would just be down by Syracuse, but I thought it hit a player coming here.
Here's probably our best vantage point.
Does it not look like it hits Bus?
You just can't tell if that ball takes
tough.
a different trajectory once it went whizzing by the front chest area of Bus.
Boy, that is so close. That is so close. So again, if it doesn't hit a UConn return man, this would just be a down by Syracuse. I guess from my vantage point, I thought it was pretty obvious, but it's tough here from this look.
It's a game of centimeters.
Does the trajectory of the ball, does it hit his knee? Ah, my goodness. That is so close.
It's a tough one upstairs for our replay officials. Again, the ruling on the field is it did not touch a UConn player. So are we seeing enough evidence to overturn that call? I'm not sure. It's a big call early in this third quarter, especially for UConn.
After review, it has been determined that the ball was illegally touched by the kicking team on the 26-yard line. The holding penalty will be enforced from the 26 to the 16-yard line. First down.
All right.
So Syracuse will not get the football. UConn maintains possession. They'll have it at the 16-yard line. The holding infraction marked off, and Randy Edsall can breathe a little bit easier. Now this offense goes to work for the first time. Davis will start as the H-back to the right. 3 receiver set on first down. Mensah bursts through a hole, and he'll fire ahead up to the 24-yard line. Kylin Whitner in on the tackle. UConn offense that put up pretty good numbers in the blowout loss to UCF. Put up great numbers last week to Rhode Island. They struggle on the road at Boise. Play fake by Bedell. Here comes Robinson, and he has number 3. He has been a machine off the edge. Late flags fly. A real late flag. Gotta believe taunting here or something post whistle.
After the play, personal foul, defense number 98, late hit, 15 yards, automatic first down.
It's the junior, McKinley Williams, one of the interior tackles for the Orange.
You watch 94 off the edge here. That's Alton Robinson, excuse me. And you're right, McKinley Williams at some point comes in here at the end of the play. Tough to see there.
Third sack today by Robinson. Penalty though gives UConn first down, but Kendall Coleman says nuh-uh. He blows it up, a huge loss. He whips Mensah for a loss of 6.
And Coleman and Robinson are just eating today. 55 here, unblocked. Can't do that. Can't run Mensa on a jet sweep right into the hands, to the arms of Kendall Coleman, number 55. That's just too easy. Big tackle for loss for the big fella.
They're happy to have a healthy Kendall Coleman coming off season shoulder injury. Change of direction by Mensa. He's snowed under at the 29, setting up a 3rd and long.
Well, 3rd and 16 is not where you want to be against anybody, certainly not against this Syracuse defense. With 94 and 55 on the edges, ready to pin their ears back and head after David Bedell.
Coleman on the right. Robinson at the bottom of the screen, number 94. 3rd and long, and that noise might be playing a factor.
Offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
You know what happened right there? That's Matt Parrott, the right tackle, and he wants to get back to his pass set. You know why? Because he knows he has to go up against Alton Robinson, number 94. Tough duty. He understands it. It's been tough all afternoon. And both of these tackles are playing new positions. He had played on the other side.
Bedell steps up, shovels it off to a very busy Xavier Scott, but there is Chris Slayton. He's the tough guy of this Syracuse defense. Slayton, the team leader up front, trying to be more vocal this season. He's a veteran, making his 33rd career start. Such an anchor to plug the hole in that middle of the defensive line. Magliozzi on the punt. Line drive, spiraling kick. Riley will catch at the 30. Survey up ahead, 40. Bounce off a tackle, 50. Watch out! Riley turns on the Jets. 10, 5, touchdown, Orange.
He's been close. Been close a couple of times. Sean Riley, the dynamic kickoff returner. He gets a little bit loose. He's out the gates. Well, maybe the offense is looking ahead, sputtering a little bit. Sean Riley's looking ahead at the end zone. Look at these wheels. Taking this one for
Sean Riley has ignited this Carrier Dome crowd. Syracuse goes up 38-14, a 69-yard burst by the explosive return man, and the Orange special teams strikes. They enjoy their largest lead early on, 3rd quarter. Dixon hesitates, and he's going to bring it out. And he wish he had. Penalty flies as well. And all of a sudden, back-to-back special teams play. Dustin, let's go back to the punt return by Riley.
the wheels here. There's 1 miss, 2 miss. Well, not going to make that one. Outrun the punter. The center's not going to get you. Off to the races. Riley shows his wheels, I should say.
During the return,
That's
illegal block in the back. Return team, number 13. Half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
And now UConn's going the wrong direction.
It's been a productive unit through the years for the Orange. Look at the numbers that they have been able to put up with special teams. Riley has added to that total with his punt return. It's a critical part of every football game. That's why so much attention is paid to that special teams department each day in practice. UConn on the wrong end of it right now, deep in their own end. Mensa, a little bit of room and daylight. He'll bust to the field side and get good yardage. Chased out of bounds by Cisco.
Cisco's an interesting young man. The freshman free safety. was a terrific recruit out of New York. IMG Academy, spent a little time, and of course had an interception his opening game against Western Michigan.
Good yardage again by Mensah as he falls ahead for more yards. And Cisco, a guy, as you mentioned, had that pick on the 4th career play. Was able to get the interception against Western Michigan. Followed suit with a couple more interceptions.
I thought it was fascinating. You know, Coach Brian Ward said he had his best and worst game all in one game.
Yeah.
Because he got beat for 3 touchdowns in the same game after having an interception in the first 4 plays.
Welcome to the life of a freshman.
It is. You know, it's an up and down. They said they wanted to pull him, but they've sort of survived it, and he's become a nice complement to Antoine Cordy, their starting free safety. So what they do is, you know, they'll put Cordy out at the nickel spot when they want to bring 5 defensive backs in the game. So then they'll put Cisco in at the free safety position. Can't see it there, but apparently he's got a pretty cool haircut too. Coach Babers was talking about that early in the season.
2nd down. Sharp cut by Mensah. He's thrown forward. Kenneth Ruff, a reserve down tackle out of Lauderhill, and on the stop, setting up a 3rd down.
Got some of the reserves here in on this drive. Looks like Robinson and Coleman are getting a blow. But again, another big 3rd down coming up here. 3rd and 1. I'd be surprised if UConn doesn't do something with David Bedell having the football in his hands with the ability to run.
A little bit of a different look. They go bunch formation. 3rd down, less than a yard. Up the middle they go, and I don't think so.
No, sir.
Denied by the Orange.
Andrew Armstrong in there, the will linebacker. And no decision here. They're going to punt the football. I'm surprised that David Bedell didn't have a chance to throw or run on that 3rd and 1. And this is a stout Syracuse defense.
8th punt of the day for Magliozzi. See if this ball comes anywhere close to Riley. He is awaiting it back at the 20. Syracuse will set up the return. Riley is going to have a shot near side. Fair catch signal for 45-yard punt. Orange in control. From first order of business for senior quarterback Eric Dungey this year has been to stay healthy. He has yet to finish out a college season in his previous 3 years as the main signal caller. Last week, a couple of jarring hits left him hobbled, in fact missing the entire 2nd half of that key win against Florida State. A hard-nosed player who's missed 10 career games because of various injuries. Showed some toughness. Part of it's just been simple, plain old bad luck. Last year he broke his foot in the game against Florida State, actually played through that injury and almost rallied the Orange to an upset win against the Noles. But the key for him and this program here in 2018 is to keep him upright and healthy.
I think there's a difference between being reckless and being tough, because he's certainly tough, but he has to do a better job making decisions, protecting his body. He's a quarterback. And quarterbacks owe it to their teammates to not put their bodies in position to be injured. That's it, plain and simple. And I think that's the message that Dino Babers has been trying to tell Eric Dungey. Is like, listen, you're putting your teammates at risk when you put yourself at risk.
And don't you think it's a tricky piece of the puzzle, though? Because when you look at Dungey, what makes him so special is that aggressiveness, is that feistiness, and his, I guess, recklessness at times, because he can turn it in to such wonderful plays.
Yeah, it's tough because it's almost like a dog chasing a car sometimes. He can't help himself.
A nifty ball fake as they run that jet sweep shovel pass to the speedster Johnson. He's had a heck of a ball game. Nykeem Johnson over onto the UConn side.
I thought Johnson was going to take this one all the way. He runs into his own blocker, Sherrod Johnson, down the field.
At the 44, here comes the Orange, straight up the middle. A quick hitter between Service and Adams.
Again, another cramp from a UConn Husky. The tempo, it tends to wear on you as a defender. And there you're going to see another one. And the fans here are not happy about that because they're saying you're slowing down our offense.
Syracuse, young UConn program, and looks like another cramping issue on On the opposite sideline, it's the reigning ACC Freshman of the Week, who has not even touched the field today, Tommy Devito, for his efforts last week in the win against Florida State. Coming out of the bullpen, really showed what he could do. His third game, used the first two to get some reps and get the feet wet, and he looked pretty sharp last week.
Yeah, we'll see him here in the second half, I'm pretty sure, as this game continues to look like it's going the Orange way.
Not much for Dungey. Nice job there by Santana Sterling.
They were happy, though, that Devito was able to get in there and get that action and really hold his own against that FSU defense, because in the past it's been when Dungey goes out, they didn't really have a qualified backup.
Late hole opens up. Mo Neal takes full advantage of it. Tackle by Coyle. Not before he gets inside the 20, a gain of 17.
Good read by Neal. Gets a good block there up front. They got 36 again in there. Chris Elmore as a lead blocker.
Play fake, slant a bit behind the intended target. They were looking for Sherrod Johnson.
Here's Elmore. We were talking with the offensive coordinator, Mike Lynch, about Elmore. This is what's so crazy. At 282 pounds, he was about 260 in high school, running the 110-meter hurdles.
Can you imagine that? Oh, look at the speed, the craftiness down the sideline by Sean Riley. He wanted to make a bigger impact this season. I'd say he's off to a pretty good start through the first quarter.
I'd say so. He's got such wiggle to him. He's not the biggest guy. He's only 170 pounds. There's Elmore. He's the biggest guy, by the way. Yeah, it's a big boy. And boy, I ran track in high school, and I couldn't imagine seeing a 260-pound guy. And he's 6 foot, so he's a stocky fella. Getting up there, getting in the blocks.
Chris Elmore, part of the first Chicago public school to win an Illinois state championship. Did it with Phillips Academy Ducks. 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC and also live on the ESPN app, so you can watch it anywhere. Big test for Justin Herbert and that Oregon offense. Can they slow down Bryce Love in that ground game of Stanford? Speaking of the ground game, it's Dungey up the gut. Number 4 touchdown. Check that, Mo Neal with the touchdown run for the Orange.
So he extends that football as well. It's hard to see where the ball's at. That right or left elbow, I should say, was down. They go back and look at it, but it was very close.
10 plays, 79 yards. We'll take another look upstairs.
Under review. The ruling on the field was a touchdown.
Number of reviews this afternoon into the early evening here in the central New York area. Take another look up the middle with Neal. Elbow down before that ball crosses. Yeah, it certainly looks like
it's going to be at about the 6-inch line. And they'll have to run another play to get it in the end zone. I like the effort from Mo Neal. Good effort. It's tough for the official to call down the line, but clearly the left forearm down and the ball short of the goal line. I like how Dungey's calling the touchdown before he's even in the end zone.
This Orange offense.
After review, it's been determined that the runner was down with the ball just over the 1-yard line. The clock will start on the line. Thank you.
This Orange offense rushed for 344 yards in the win against Western Michigan. That was a Babers high in his 3 years at Syracuse. Tonight, 294 yards rushing, and we still have a lot of football left. This offensive line, it's one of the more experienced offensive lines in the country coming into the season. 115 career starts. Conway, Roberts, Service, Adams, and Martin getting the job done once again. We've been down this road before. They put Elmore right in the hip pocket of Dungey. He will follow Elmore. No indication yet.
It's got to be in, no?
And they're going to say just shy. 2nd and goal. And here comes a really late flag. So
I think it's on Dungey.
Somebody was talking.
Well, it came from the back judge. And it came from the area of where Dungey was in the end zone. And UConn's clapping like it's against Syracuse. Wait for the call.
After the play, unsportsmanlike, taunting, number 2 of the offense. It's a 15-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, what we were talking about earlier in the day, there's some of that feistiness from Eric Dungey.
And so he's out. Yeah, so you see Omar Ford, number 27. He tries to knock the football out. It's always the second guy that gets called. So, yeah, Dungey is getting up out of the pile. Ford tries to tap the football out of his hands, and Dungey, just being a feisty guy himself, decides to toss the football back. He gets flagged, and now they're in a tough spot. 3rd and long, 3rd and goal from about the 15-yard line.
Butler
have to burn a timeout here.
Yeah, Butler and Custis to the receivers right.
Timeout.
Play clock winding down, and Dungey uses a timeout.
30-second timeout.
So you go from a potential touchdown to then getting stopped to now being 3rd and goal from the 15-yard line. It's tough to tell. I mean, how do you know that he's not in from that scrum? I guess he got pushed back a little bit there.
He's being challenged by Syracuse that the runner did not break the goal line.
All right, so they're challenging that he got in, right? So they're going to say, hey, maybe we got a touchdown here, and the penalty would then be enforced on the kickoff. So we'll have to see if we have a better look. This may be the best look. There's the ball. But from that angle, it kind of looks like he's across the line.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. It's 3rd down.
No evidence to overturn. I kind of like the challenge, though. I think it's creative because you had the penalty, put you back here at the 15-yard line. And, of course, why not? You could have got the points and then taken the penalty later.
Third down and goal for the Orange. Butler and Riley, 2 receivers left. Custis to the top of the screen. They're going to stay on the ground, slicing left to right. Goes Mo Neal inside the 10 down to the 9-yard line. And the penalty by Dungey hurts Syracuse, and they'll send out Schmidt for the 2nd time today.
Dungey's acting like he doesn't even know what got called. It's a little ticky-tack, but second guy in, you toss a football back at a player, the taunting's going to get called every time.
Schmidt from 27. And it is through. Andre Schmidt with his 2nd field goal of the day, and Syracuse ups the ante now 41-14. There's big Coda Martin. What an addition to this offensive line. The graduate transfer from Texas A&M actually went through spring ball with the Aggies in College Station, but he has a pretty good connection to the Syracuse football program. And you go back to his high school days, he had the opportunity to give his father Kirk a big hug. Their final game together at Manvel High School down in the Lone Star State. Went on to play for Texas A&M, started 17 games for the Aggies, and then
this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, he fell in love with Dino Baber's daughter, Jasmine. They were married a summer ago. Yep. So Coda decides to bring his wife back closer to home to be with Dad Dino, and then he wants to be closer to his father, Kirk, who took over the quarterback coaching position back in February. Coda made the decision to come here in late May, early June. So when it's all said and done, it's one big happy family reunion on both sides.
It is, and I thought it was fascinating. I said, what's that dynamic like for you, Coach Babers, when it comes to coaching your son-in-law? He goes, no, it's fine, except, you know, this week I actually had to get on him in practice. And he started yelling at him a little bit, and he said, it was a little weird. He kind of looked at him a little bit, but you know what? in the end, it's all love. And he coaches him just like every other player out there, even though he happens to be his son-in-law.
Now, I think an in-law would be tougher to coach than your actual son.
No doubt.
Got to feel the wrath possibly of Jasmine when you get home. From the 25-yard line, this is Mensah. I really like him at running back. Mensah runs hard. He hits the hole. There's no wasted movement. A young man who really matured during the offseason and has stepped up as the main guy, the supplement to David Bedell. We hit the 4-minute mark in this third quarter. Syracuse pulling away. That's Buss in motion. Bedell looks. He goes to a safety valve. Buss makes the catch. He's shouldered out of bounds by Antoine Cordy. Cordy is a guy they need to keep healthy this year. He has fought through 2 injury-plagued seasons, has missed 21 of 24 games over the last 2 years. He's a physical specimen, a real leader on the back end of this Orange secondary. Here comes the crowd one more time. These 3rd and shorts have been tough on UConn. The Orange rush 4. Bedell gets rid of it quickly. He goes to the sure-handed Mayala, who makes the catch.
Watch the speed of Alton Robinson here off the edge against Matt Perry. Look at this. He can't even keep up getting out of his pass set there. The speed and quickness and how he dips his shoulder and gets around that edge. That's what NFL teams are looking for. And it's a 4th and about a yard, and Coach Randy Edsall's going to go for this.
Their 2 tight ends aren't really what you consider a jumbo package. They're both in now. 4th and less than a yard. Up the middle they go. Mensah lowers the pad level, and this will all be dependent on the spot. And it looks like he got a good one. It wasn't easy, but Mensah at the point of attack able to go in low. And UConn converts a 4th down. Morrisseau is checked in. He caught a 74-yard touchdown last week. Option look by Bedell. Boy, he hits that hole hard, and he will go out of bounds at the 49, a gain of 14. He has some speed.
Man, he's got some wheels. That's just an option, speed option off to the left. And watch 55 come to the field. He takes the running back. That tells him, Bedell, that I'm going to keep the ball. And he just sort of coasts. He was limping a little bit there at the end of that run. I don't know.
Keep an eye on that.
He's got a wrap on that right knee now, looks like.
First down from the 49. Patient run by Mensah. Straight up the middle over the left side, following Vandemark and Cam DeGeorge.
Yeah, I thought that Bedell, he's got a little something on that knee that came up a little bit limping on that last run. So keep an eye on that for David Bedell, who's got a lot of speed. And you can see, even if he is dealing with something, he looked fast.
Second-year starter. He lost the starting job after a half of football last year. He eventually came back in due to an injury. Played well down the stretch at times. He was really looking for consistency here in his senior campaign, and he built a tight relationship with the new offensive coordinator, John Dunn. Those two spent a lot of time together, and it's paid off. He's looked good this year for UConn.
Yeah, John Dunn runs more of a pro-style offense. Last year they had Rhett Lashley, who was trying to run as many plays, kind of like this Syracuse offense, up-tempo. And Randy Edsall decided, I think, we're going to slow things down a little bit. So he goes out and finds John Dunn, had a relationship with him prior from Maryland, of course. And you know, John Dunn did a great job last year, worked with the Chicago Bears and Mitchell Trubisky as a rookie quarterback.
Third and short. It's Mensah getting the call. First down yardage. Mensah to the 29. And UConn putting together a nice looking drive as we wind down this third quarter.
Look at those kick out blocks there from the left side. Cam to George, Ryan Vandemark. Open up a big hole.
The end of the third quarter.
So we go to the fourth quarter from the Carrier Dome. It's been a big day for Dungey and this Orange defense. Riley and the special teams providing them women honor before the game. Nicholas Matthews representing the Air Force, presented with the honorary game ball as our military enjoy the festivities as we start quarter number 4. New quarterback is Marvin Washington. So Washington getting the call to start this fourth quarter, and our sincere thank you for those brave men and women for what they do each and every day.
I concur. Appreciate all of your service. Wouldn't be doing this game without them.
It's a special group. Great opportunity to recognize them and thank them. So Washington, the redshirt freshman from Orlando, now in there for UConn. 2nd down and 7. Looks like he wants that throwback, and he does. He'll launch, has a receiver, touchdown. Tyler Davis hauls it in on the throwback. A beautiful BB by Marvin Washington. Welcome to the party.
Great play call. Everyone on Syracuse thought that he was going to throw off to his right as he rolled out to his right, and then he comes back. The wheel route. Again, you see 25 there. Kylin Whitner, who's matched up against the tight end. Davis is a former quarterback, by the way. Was recruited as a quarterback to UConn, and now has added on a little bit of weight. He's athletic. How about that throw?
Michael Tarbut adds the point after.
That's the first touchdown pass of that young man's career, Marvin Washington.
It's his first career pass.
That's a good one.
And it goes for 6.
Absolutely. Hey, you wonder, is David Bedell dealing with something right now? Oh, big one coming up on Monday night.
Week 3 Monday Night Football matchup as Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers in Tampa to take on the 2-0 Bucs. How about the start by Tampa Bay?
Fitz magic, baby.
Boy, you are kidding. 8:15 Eastern, ESPN, also simulcast on ESPN2 in Spanish and available on the ESPN app so you can watch it anywhere. Deshawn Jackson, what a start for him, the big-time playmaker on the edge.
Did you see Fitzy's post-game press conference outfit when he wore Deshawn Jackson's shades and his chain and had all of his chest hair sticking out with the chain? I thought it was pretty funny.
And Fitzy's always been a character.
Oh, yeah.
And he has loosened up that group in Tampa. A great start. That offense really cooking.
I've known Fitz for many years. We were college teammates in an all-star game, and then we were teammates with the Buffalo Bills. He's a talented quarterback. Every time he gets an opportunity, it seems like, you know, he's going to go to that backup role, and then all of a sudden he comes on and he had 400 yards passing back-to-back games to start the season. Are you kidding me?
For Syracuse is
so when Jameis gets healthy, what's the story there?
Is now
if they're undefeated, you're not putting Fitzy on the bench. You're going to let him start till he fails.
Go with that hot hand.
You have to.
It's certainly been hot through the first 2 weeks. Tarbut with the kick. Riley with the fair catch. Syracuse will start at the 25, leading by 20. Early stages of this fourth quarter.
The receiving team completed a fair catch inside the 25-yard line. By rule, the ball will be placed on the 25. First down.
So with UConn getting that last touchdown, it keeps the game a little bit closer. And we'll still see Eric Dungey for Syracuse. I'm sure they want to get Devito out there at some point, but they want to make sure this game is well within hand. It's not yet.
Yeah, still lots of football to be played. On first down, this is Dante Strickland. Pretty balanced offensive rushing attack today. You have Neal with 116. Dungey has added 69. Howard behind that long 52-yard run. Strickland with 52 yards. So they're using a lot of different backs. And really the only blemish today for Syracuse has been the penalties.
False start. Offense, number 59. 5-yard penalty, second down.
It's Aaron Roberts, a big body they are happy to have back. He missed all of last year with an injury, led the Orange last week with 10 knockdown blocks in that win against Florida State. 10 penalties today for 95 yards. Near side completion is to Jamal Custis, who stays inbounds and on his feet.
Well, that's what Custis brings to the table. He's a big, fast guy. He's got 4.4 speed, Coach Babers told us. That's huge for a guy who's 6'5", 213 pounds.
Yeah, he has all the tangibles to be a special one. And you hear those stories occasionally where guys are, you know, banged up earlier in their career, maybe don't necessarily see the opportunities until the final go around. They put up big numbers their senior year, and then they make a living on Sundays finding a niche with an offense. And that's, you know, a guy like Jamal Custis, if he can put it all together, certainly has the physical attributes, as does Mr. Dungey. He scoots to the outside, avoids the hit by Omar Ford.
He had Caleb Thomas in his face for 52, the defensive tackle, and Dungey just gives him a little pump fake and pulls it down and runs for the first down.
Caleb Thomas, a redshirt freshman, started at both sides of that defensive tackle position through the first 3 games. Up the middle they go, a violent collision. Darian Beavers sliding his way down the line, met him. Forward progress pushes it for 3.
So Syracuse has a big one, as we talked about, next week coming up, as they've got to go on the road to Clemson. I'm sure they're, at this point, looking to slow things down maybe just a little bit.
Jet sweep. This is Riley. Needs a block. It never panned out. Trying to pick up a block from Strickland on the edge. Good tackle by O'Neal Robinson.
Watch the pump fake here from Eric Dungey. This is 2 plays ago. Fakes the read option. It's going to be a little pop pass. He goes, whoop. Caleb Thomas jumps up in the air and he says, I'm going to take off and run. It's like Larry Bird there with that little fundamental pump fake.
Going to look like Kevin Love as well. They both share the same hometown.
They do.
Lake Oswego in Oregon, Lake Ridge High School.
Offense, number 10, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Pre-snap penalties have we seen for Syracuse today? Again, you talk about fundamentals. You can't have, listen, next week against one of the top teams in the entire country, the Clemson Tigers, you can't be going backwards.
And you can bet Clemson will be breathing fire next week after last year's upset win. Over the middle, that's a gutsy catch by Riley. They're not going to get him. See ya. Boy, he is fun to watch. Touchdown, Orange.
He is fun to watch. He's got some wheels. Coach Mike Lynch called him a water bug this week, and we've seen him now find the end zone a couple of times. One on a punt return, and this one on a pass reception from Eric Dungey.
Injury for UConn. Syracuse gets 6 more. The trainers table getting looked at. Sean Riley has absolutely gone wild today against UConn. 7 plays, 75-yard drive. Andre Schmidt adds the point after as we go back to the touchdown throw.
So when things are going your way, they're going your way. Let's go back and look at the touchdown throw from Eric Dungey. Beautiful touch. As you see 10 top of your screen come across, get a little help from the official. Yeah, bump a guy out of the way, and then 31 comes across and knocks out Lazarus. That's O'Neal Robinson, and I think he lost his shoe as Sean Riley takes it for his 2nd touchdown of the game.
It is a career day for Riley. 290 all-purpose yards, 6 catches for 120. He had that long punt return for a touchdown. He has showed flashes in the past. You go back to last year, he put up 247 all-purpose yards in the win against Central Michigan, and now inside the Carrier Dome today, he has put on quite a show. one of the nation's top offenses, getting the job done again today. 48-21 Syracuse. Extra Yard for Teacher Week is a week-long celebration of teachers led by the College Football Playoff Foundation through its Extra Yard for Teachers platform. Visit the College Football Playoff Foundation website at www.cfp-foundation.org to learn more about Extra Yard for Teachers Week. And we had a chance to sit down with Kylin Whitner yesterday, and he brought up a kindergarten teacher back in the day by the name of Joan Travis, and we all kind of smiled when he said that. We all remember those early years and those teachers in the kindergarten and first grade and the impact that they have left on all of us. And Kylin had nothing but praise for Joan Travis, and he's developed into quite a young man both on the field and off the field.
Yes, he is. Humanitarian. He spent a lot of time in Haiti, giving time back, of course, and kindergarten's a great year. Great time to learn. I remember Mrs. Anderson, my kindergarten teacher, taught me a lot way back when.
Loose ball, and Washington forced to eat it. Mentioned all the overseas trips, and on that wrist is a pretty special bracelet. The left wrist with the orange and blue color. He was given that on one of his mission trips to Haiti, a very impoverished village. He went and visited. A young boy approached him and talked about the appreciation that he had for Kylin and the rest of his crew coming over to help out. And he presented Kylin with that wristband, that bracelet. He has not taken it off since he came back to the United States. And that story he told just beaming with pride. He says, this thing is going to stay on me as long as I possibly can, as a reminder for the appreciation he saw from a young man who really had nothing. Just an incredible story, a humbling story, and one that certainly stuck with Kylin Whitner.
That's good stuff. And Kylin Whitner has found his home here at Sam linebacker. He's played 3 positions since he's been at Syracuse, and challenging, of course, trying to find his home, I should say. And it seems like he certainly has now. What a fine young man. It was great to sit down with him and learn about his story.
Magliozzi with the punt, and it is muffed. Let's see, as UConn get the takeaway. Fort was in the neighborhood, but it's Syracuse. All Syracuse today, and it looks like Eric Dungey's afternoon is complete. Another typical day in the office for Dungey, and his replacement is the redshirt freshman from Cedar Grove, New Jersey, Tommy Devito, the reigning ACC Freshman of the Week. What a second half. He led 3 second-half scoring drives last week in the win against Florida State, marking the first time Syracuse won with Dungey sidelined since 2015, the season finale against Boston College. So certainly it gave confidence to this offense that they can move the football without Dungey, and Devito does it in a little bit different way. He is your prototypical pocket passer for the Orange.
He had an impressive debut. Not a debut, but I mean kind of a debut last week against Florida State, because it was his most extensive playing time of the season. And they piled on in the second half against Florida State as they ran that up 30-7 against the Seminoles.
Devito is going to throw, and he's going to showcase that arm deep down the sideline. He was looking for Taj Harris, so that's the future connection, Devito to the true freshman Harris. Devito had high expectations after the summer of 2016, in which he started the Under Armour All-American game. He was named the opening 7-on-7 squad starter, an Elite 11 finalist, so he has the resume to operate this offense the way Mike Lynch, the offensive coordinator, and Dino Babers want it to go. Howard is the running back. He stays in for pass protection. Right on target, a strike to Sherrod Johnson. Shy of the first down, wrestled out at the 40 by Jordan Morrison.
Devito's looking to the sideline and say, hey, this is 4th and 4. Let's go for this thing. Let me have a chance to run this offense. I know it's a 4 touchdown game rather, but this is what they do. Or maybe a quick punt. We'll see.
Timeout, Syracuse.
like what we're watching today in the Carrier Dome, but it's been the ACC that has dominated from the start. The Orange have never trailed. They lead at 48-21. Good day punting for Sterling Hoffrichter, who entered today the ACC's leader, averaging close to 44 yards per punt. He has pinned UConn inside the 20 for the 3rd time today.
So it looks like we'll see Mr. Washington again, Marvin Washington. I'll tell you, that throwback touchdown that he had to Tyler Davis was about as good a throw as you're going to see.
Washington put the ball on the ground, and Andrew Armstrong said, "Thank you very much." Washington got tied up with Xavier Scott on that zone read, and it landed right in Armstrong's lap, and Syracuse has another takeaway.
This is the mesh point they talk about, right? You put the football in, you got to look at it. He's trying to look at the defensive end. Instead, he doesn't even realize where Scott is at, and Scott just knocks it out. And Johnny on the spot, Andrew Armstrong. Will linebacker, we talked about earlier, is having himself a strong game. And I believe Marvin will go over and talk to his coach about that mesh point.
Second turnover today by UConn. Great starting position for Syracuse and Devito. Big hole over the middle. Howard tripped up. Somebody stuck a hand out, grabbed a shoelace. Howard falls forward inside the 10. There are weapons all over, and the Orange can beat you in a number of different ways. And Howard hoping to get his name into that fray as they move into the heart of ACC competition. He had that fumble earlier in the game on a long breakaway, fumbled at the goal line. But for 2 straight weeks, he has showed the ability to break the big play for the Syracuse offense. Third down and 4 from the 8. Devito looking left the entire way. Slant, throws a bullet through the fingertips of Taj Harris. Coverage on the play by Jeremy Lucien.
Looking outside, they do a little fake wheel route to Riley, number 10, and the bullet was right there to Taj. He's got to come up with the football. That's a quick slant. Should have been hauled in for a touchdown.
Another chip shot, Andre Schmidt, who's perfect today. This one from 25 yards on the near hash. Nolan Cooney with the hold, kick on the way, and it is good. The UConn fumble result. Another name and another number added to the rafters inside the Carrier Dome as the great Joe Morris, who wore that number 47 with pride throughout his record-setting years at Syracuse. The all-time leading rusher in Orange history. He holds or shares 15 different Syracuse rushing records, including career yards with over 4,299. The 5th player he retired here at Syracuse, and look at his career, close to 4,300 rushing yards, 2nd-round pick in the '82 draft by the Giants. He won a Super Bowl, 2-time Pro Bowler, and what a career. And we had a nice chance to talk with Randy Edsall, who was actually Morris's teammate for a couple of years.
Yeah, pretty special. When you think about all the top running backs who've been through here, the fact that Joe Morris is the career rushing leader is pretty special. So no surprise that his number gets retired, and a special day. It was a great crowd reception for him at midfield at halftime.
And out of respect, Matt Keller, who wears number 47, is Bus, makes the catch deep downfield. Another deep ball thrown nicely by Washington. Bus hauls it in, but Matt Keller, who normally wears number 47, the long snapper, he switched to 48 since that number 47 now high up in the air here at the Carrier Dome.
Yeah, nice touch by him. for the second half of this game. Thought it would be only right to take the jersey off as Mr. Morris is in the house.
$1,000 yards combined offense today. I don't think we're surprised by that statistic.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You knew coming in that Syracuse was going to get their points. The question is, you know, UConn, how are they going to face against this tough, stout Syracuse defense? David Bedell did a nice job early in this game. I think he's got something going on there with that knee, because he just didn't look right here in the second half, and obviously Washington has come in relief.
Second down give is to Xavier Scott, who's running hard. Scott carrying a defender up to the 22. This is a special day for Xavier because he grew up on the road. His father, a sergeant, first class in the military, so military appreciation weekend in Syracuse. He had lived in Texas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, Germany, and that's actually where UConn was able to find him at an ESPN camp overseas in Europe. Ryan Steinberg, the director of football operations, got word from a friend about this kid, so they flew him from Germany to Stores. They like what they saw, and Xavier Scott contributing today. He's had a good day, especially as a receiver out of the backfield with the 7 catches, and provides a nice supplement to Kevin Mensah.
They love him out of the backfield. It's a great point by you. In the third down passing game, that's where he really has thrived early on in this season, I should say. Late in this game, he's running hard.
Inside the red zone for UConn. Washington moves the pocket right. Go for McLean underneath. Instead, he goes to Buss, and it's intercepted right through his hands. And it's picked off by Syracuse.
The Cisco kid, the freshman.
Done it again. Andre Cisco, his 4th interception of the year. Remember, he entered today sharing the national lead with 3. He might be all by himself.
Washington's got to take a little bit off this ball, but it goes right through the hands of Buss. And Cisco says, hey, I'll take that, right place, right time. My 4th interception of my career, and I'm just a freshman. They call him the Cisco kid, as Dino Babers does. They're very happy this young man is a part of their program. They see a bright future for him. What they've been able to do with him is put him, I talked about it earlier, there's that haircut that Coach Babers talks about. He likes his hair. Thinks it's pretty sweet. Wishes he had hair like that, Dino Babers said. But Andre Cisco is going to be their center fielder for years to come. He's just kind of finding his way as a young freshman.
The free safety position has been a hindrance in previous years for Syracuse. Obviously, we talked about the health issues with Cordy and trying to keep him on the field. Jordan Martin tried to help in that area, but Cisco has really solidified the secondary, and now with a healthy Cordy, it's quite a 1-2 punch. You don't see this too often. You might want to take a snapshot of it with this play clock winding down from Syracuse. And that was part of a conversation we had with Mike Lynch, the offensive coordinator, yesterday, and we were talking about the average plays and what Syracuse has averaged through the first 3 games. And he says, to be quite honest, it could be actually a lot higher because we have milked the clock in 2 of the 3 weeks in that 4th quarter. Don't forget, coming up tonight on ABC, we have a top 20 matchup. Number 7 Stanford, number 20 Oregon in Eugene. It's 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC and live on the ESPN app, so you can watch it anywhere. Who you picking, Dustin? I know you're a Herbert guy.
Yeah, I am. You know, I just don't know who they faced. You know, it's been tough sledding for Stanford so far this year. I like Bryce Love and the Cardinal. I think they get it done on the road. I do.
KJ Costello, an underrated quarterback for the Cardinal as well, off to a good start. Stanford with already 1 Pac-12 win. They beat USC a couple of weeks ago. Can they go 2-0 on the road? Devito goes deep, receiver with a step, and he overshot him. Sherrod Johnson had gotten behind O'Neal Robinson, but Devito a bit long with the throw.
He had him. He had him down the seam, and that's the 2nd throw for Devito that he's overthrown his target on a deep shot. You see Dungey off on the sidelines there telling Devito, it's okay.
fifth punt of the day by Sterling Hofrichter, who's averaging 46 yards a kick. This one not deep, but extremely high. Bus orders everybody away from it. And there's that fortuitous bounce. Home cooking by Syracuse. The bounces have went their way, but they don't need any luck. This offense high-powered and clicking. Heard Dino Babers earlier in that rousing talk last week. No respect. They're starting to get some respect. 4-0.
Well, they'll earn the respect next week when they get to go to Death Valley. But you know, so far, I look at really everybody in the Atlantic. I mean, who can't Syracuse compete with? They've already topped Florida State. You know, NC State lost all those guys on defense. Ryan Finley's back. Boston College is, you know, obviously they lost today to Purdue. Big loss. No Lamar Jackson. Wake has got a freshman quarterback right now, and they struggled today against Notre Dame. So I think Cuse is right there.
Second down and 10. Washington hands it off to Scott. Yeah, it really was a bizarre day for the ACC. Boston College loses to Purdue. Old Dominion just shocking Virginia Tech late. It's wide open, and it will be a measuring stick next week for Syracuse to find out where they're at. And you look back over the last couple of years for the Orange. They've had signature wins the last 2 seasons. 2 years ago, it was the Hokies of Virginia Tech. They knocked them off. Last year, that stunning upset of Clemson here inside the Carrier Dome. Washington, nowhere to go. Pocket collapsing around. He'll fall ahead for positive yards, but they have collapsed after those signature wins. 2 years ago, they went 1-4 after beating Bud Tech. 2017, they go 0-5 after that win against Clemson. This year, they had the win against Florida State a week ago. The coaches loved how they handled it after that game. There was no ice bath for Coach Babers. It was expected. And now you look ahead with that big matchup in Death Valley next week.
Yeah, they're using the history to help them. They're using it as a teaching moment. And you know, they're happy they beat Florida State last week, but they understand what lies ahead, and they're not going to start smelling themselves too much. They know that they've got a tough schedule, and we can take a look back and remember what happened here at the Carrier Dome last year. This is, of course, last season. Eric Dungey had a nice game.
Dungey throwing for 278 yards, 3 touchdown passes. This defense was tough. Slayton with the big hit.
That was a big story, though. Kelly Bryant leaves the game.
Late touchdown pass to Stephen Ishmael, a 30-yard strike, and 42,475 celebrate with a big party. Dino Babers with a signature win. Talked about that win, but that has been the story. Can they follow up after a signature win? And they think they can here in 2018.
I also think the difference, too, is Dungey is healthy. And if Dungey is going to be healthy, they'll be just fine. And I think they've got a shot. I'll be honest with you. I think they've got a shot, a puncher's chance to go down to Clemson and pull that upset. This is a different defense this year. And with a healthy Dungey, there's a chance they can pull it off back-to-back seasons.
Don't forget Sports Center from LA tonight after Arizona State Washington on ESPN with Stan and Neil. Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Fowler break down that big Stanford Oregon game. Syracuse using all of the play clock. The Orange for the 3rd time in 4 weeks. Out past 50 points. They get some help from special teams today. Mackenzie Pierre falling ahead up to the 40-yard line. But LA tonight, the site, Sports Center. Arizona State, Washington right after that one on ESPN with Stan and Neil. Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Fowler. They're going to break down that Stanford-Oregon game. Plus, we'll get reaction from Urban Meyer as well as the top plays from college football roll in. That's all tonight, 1:30 Eastern.
So weird to see Syracuse on offense not running up to the ball and snapping as fast as they can.
Moving forward for UConn, obviously, first and foremost, the health of David Bedell, who we saw limping around late in the 3rd quarter. They get ready to return home back into conference play with Cincinnati next week. while Dungey in Syracuse gets ready for the trip to Clemson. Another big day for Dungey. Throws for 286. Rushes for 77. He accounts for 5 touchdowns today, and the Orange are going to be 4-0 for the first time since 1991, and something special possibly brewing in Central New York.
It's brewing. There's Dino Babers, Randy Edsall congratulating each other, and Dino Babers now can go in the locker room and start focusing on that big matchup next week against Clemson in Death Valley.
Syracuse to 4-0, UConn to 1-3. Both teams back into their respective conferences next week. Our final score: the Orange 51, UConn 21. ESPN Goal Line is coming up next. This has been a presentation of college football on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Good night.